Hello and welcome. In this module, we're going to discuss follow-up emails for the buyers of your product. This is, of course, part of the sales funnel to maximize profit. A good entrepreneur knows that the selling doesn't stop after the transaction. So, let's jump into it right away. So what exactly are follow-up emails? To put it very simply, follow-up buyer emails are emails sent to the customers after they've purchased your product. Usually, after a purchase, the customer would receive the receipt, or maybe a thank you for your purchase email. It is actually part of the sales funnel in a lot of ways. You, as the vendor, can profit from follow-up emails. Before we get into that, let's talk about another importance of a follow-up email, which is building a strong relationship between the buyer and you. When you send an email to the customers expressing gratitude, they feel appreciated. This is great for building a strong relationship with them, especially when you're going to sell a big-ticket back-end product to them. A big-ticket back-end product is priced very high compared to the product they've purchased and the upsell. To sell a big-ticket back-end, you would need a strong relationship with the customer so that they can trust you. Anyway, let's roll our sleeves and get into these follow-up emails. How many emails should we send to a buyer? Ideally, you should send at least 4 to them at first. However, these 4 emails should not be sent all at once, but instead gradually. The sending of these emails can be automated, of course, but you have to set them up to be sent with a few days in between each email. The recommended time for you to send these emails is 2 or 3 days apart. The first email you send them is a thank you email. This email should come right after they make the purchase of your product. The second email, perhaps a few days after the purchase, sends them an email with tips for the product. It's just a few pointers on the product. The third email is also some more tips on the product, but see them as hidden tips on how to use the product. Lastly, the fourth email, send your buyer a promo for a big-ticket back-end offer. This is an unannounced bonus that you don't simply give anyone but your customers. Right. Let's explore these emails now, shall we? The first email you send is an obligatory thank you email. In it, just thank them for purchasing your product and also provide some contact information should they have any concerns for you. Give them the email address you have to address inquiries if you have one. Also, mention here your refund policy should your product not satisfy them. It's not what we all want as entrepreneurs, but it is necessary. Do not talk about your other products yet. Here, at this point, they've just been through a sales funnel, and they're exhausted. However, this is not a must. You can choose to sell your other products if you want, but it will not be appreciated. In the second email that you should send a few days after the first thank you email, you should focus on tips. It's just like checking up on the buyer to see whether they're happy with the product or not, but at the same time offering pointers. In this email, share a few tips on how they can get the most out of your product. For example, if your product was about media buying, you can share a few pointers on how they can find the best advertising space they can look at, which website to go to, etc. You want your customers to be truly satisfied with the product you've sold to them. And remember what I mentioned earlier in this module. The selling doesn't stop at the transaction. Even in this second email, you're still selling, and you'll keep selling later on. So this email, like the previous thank you email, is to strengthen the bond between you and the purchaser. Your buyers will appreciate you helping them out even after they've made the purchase. The third email should be almost like the second email, which is more tips. But this time, sell those tips as hidden tips instead of just more pointers. Here, you can give them tips for the product that can be applied on top of the original tips that you've shared in the previous email. The fourth email, you have to sell them the big-ticket back-end product. A quick recap of the big-ticket back-end product. It is the most valuable product sold in a sales funnel. It is priced way higher than the original product, and also higher than the upsells. It usually carries a lot of bonuses with it, so that the value will be really high. It is tempting to actually sell them the big-ticket back-end product right after the sales funnel. But because this product is of high value, you need to gain trust from the buyers first. This is why you need to give them a few days before sending this email. It's so the customer can use your product and evaluate its quality before going on to make a hefty investment in another product from you. Your credibility as a vendor plays a big role in making a sale here. Also, this big-ticket back-end should only be sent to your customers who have purchased your product along with the upsells. In other words, your favorite customers. Again, this offer should be sent 3 to 7 days after the purchase. The 4 emails you've just learned are all, more or less, part of the sales funnel. However, the selling doesn't stop there either. The 5th email and onwards are all emails for selling new products when you have any. They've bought from you, which means you know to which niche they belong. Should you have any new products that you think they might be interested in, you have them at your disposal. With that, we've covered another important aspect in the sales funnel.